I'm Cashin White from BOK Financial. Today I'm joined by Preston Martin from Bicycle Technologies International, located in Santa Fe, New Mexico. In this conversation, we will take a look at how his homegrown business has grown a niche business into a national wholesale bicycle parts distributor over the past 27 years. BTI and its bike shop customers have experienced a huge surge in demand as the COVID-19 pandemic prompted people across the country to pull out old bikes out of the garage or explore a new hobby that allowed them to be outside and closer to home. Preston discussed ways the cycling community and his business has expanded and come together during this time of uncertainty. Bicycling and cycling is near and dear to my heart. I've been an avid cyclist really through high school, but got into it after college in a significant way, and fancied myself the next Lance Armstrong when he was coming up. But I love the sport. I still ride as much as I possibly can. And when I heard that I was able to talk to a wholesale distributor of cycling parts, I got really excited. And, you know, I think everybody really enjoys hearing the origin story of every business. So before we dive into the meat of this, I'd love for you to just kind of walk us through how you got this business started and where you've taken it from there.
It was 1993, just fresh out of college. Myself and my partner Andrew Wright, co-founder, we started in my garage in Ashland, Oregon, and we were both working at another distributor called United Bicycle Parts, and that's where we had learned the trade more or less, how distribution works. And at the time we were noticing that bicycle suspension was becoming more popular, and yet there was not really a good source for technical products and repair. And so we thought, all right, well, we're going to become the experts in this category. So we received training from all the major shock companies of the day, and we launched our first catalog in spring of 1993, filled with every possible small part and accessory you could get for a suspension product.
Yeah, I remember growing up when we would ride our, quote, mountain bikes, there was no suspension, and you'd land and it was a full, like, earth-shattering, vibrations through your whole body, but you just kept going. And I never forget when they came out with the first suspension kit, it was a game changer.
That's right. So
yeah,
it was RockShox. Paul Turner, founder of RockShox, brought this suspension fork to market, and people laughed at him and said, "Oh, that's heavy, and nobody's going to want that," and dismissed it. And luckily, he was persistent, and within a few years, his product was on most every mountain bike that was being sold in a bike shop. Even to this day, we still do suspension repair in-house for bike shops.
And at the end of 2019, were you on a pretty strong trajectory? That's a common theme that we're hearing from a lot of businesses, is that they ended up really strong, had big, audacious goals for 2020.
Boy, for this year, we did forecast for growth, but then COVID hit in March. Sales started to slide pretty sharply in late March, and then we were notified by the state of New Mexico that certain businesses were treated as non-essential, and all bicycle businesses, including shops and distributors, were all told they were non-essential. And so we were actually closed for a week in early April, and not knowing the future of what was going to happen. At the end of the day, we were able to lobby with the help of bike shops throughout the state, the mayor of Santa Fe stepping up for us, and bike shops, bicycle businesses were able to return. We became aware of the payroll protection program, the PPP that the federal government was offering to businesses who were facing uncertainty, and so we applied for that. We worked with Bank of Albuquerque to get the funding, and we were actually one of the first businesses to receive funding because Bank of Albuquerque did such a great job of pulling it together
So now here we are in April. We've got the PPP loan. You're deemed essential. Tell me what were some of the first few signs that you thought things were going to be very different to the positive?
Yes, each week through April was compounding in growth. We realized that something was happening, that there were more people showing up at the bike shops asking to get their old bike that they had dusted off from the garage repaired.
What are some changes that you had to make to the workplace environment or to work schedules or working with your employees to make sure you were addressing the concerns of COVID, but also able to fulfill the orders you were getting as business continued to increase through April, May, and June?
In the first few weeks in April, BTI was under a restriction to have no more than 5 people in our warehouse at a time. So all of our office staff was working from home, and we were working in shifts in the warehouse to try and keep up. But with 5 people, it was an uphill battle. We were losing ground every day. Orders were falling behind, and eventually the state loosened up its requirements to allow us to have more, higher headcount in the warehouse to meet our daily needs while still being socially distanced, while wearing masks, and taking all the necessary precautions to make sure our staff don't fall ill.
Yeah, what were some strange occurrences that stressed your supply chain with dealing with so many different countries and manufacturers? Can you share a few examples with us?
Boy, it's been compounding over time through the summer. As more and more folks showed up to bike shops, they were finding a line they had to stand in to even get seen. Some shops would only allow visitation by appointment. A lot of shops don't allow people in the store at this point. And so each shop is handling it their own special way. The supply chain, meanwhile, with this spike in demand, has been challenged because their raw material supplies have been slowed down for various reasons. There's the factories themselves are reporting, months of extra lead time on order production, where it might have taken 2 months to get an order produced. Now it might take double that.
On your demand side, what are you hearing? Are you able to add clients right now? And have you been able to exploit some competitive advantage that maybe you didn't know existed, or a competitive advantage that you've had for a while, but now you even have a larger platform to let everyone know why they should be buying from BTI versus another wholesale distributor?
The accounts we have are asking us for new tools that we didn't have in the past, such as a back order system. In the past, if we were out of stock on it, well, then we would allow the shop to put in a stock alert. It was an email notification when the goods came in. They'd get an email and then they'd order it. These days, they're looking for a stronger commitment. They want to know that if they put it in a back order, that those goods are committed to them and can't be sold to somebody else. And so that's a system we're working on now.
This has been great, and I'm happy to hear that your company's been able to adapt. I'm happy to hear your employees are happy and healthy. Your business seems to be going strong. Cycling is obviously picking up in demand, and as more and more people get into it, I don't see that trend abating.
Well, I think the outlook for the bicycle industry for 2021 is that we have a lot of pent-up demand because of short supply this year. I also expect that this winter, a lot of folks will be getting a little stir crazy in their houses and thinking about what they want to do with their time in the spring, and we'll see another group of new riders, another crop of new riders going to the bike shop or dusting off their old bikes and getting them repaired. And so I'm excited to see those new faces out there. In general, bicycle industry is doing well right now, and I don't see why it's going to slow down anytime in 2021.
That's great news. And as soon as we can, I'm traveling down there to visit Jeremy, and we're going to drive up to Santa Fe, visit your warehouse, and if we can, I'd love to go for a ride.